Keeper of the Lost Cities, Exile, Chapter 43. So this is where the great Sophie Foster lives, Keith said as he plopped down on her bed and grabbed Ella from among the pillows. Wow, you really sleep with this thing? I thought Fitz was kidding when he gave it to you when you were recovering. Sophie snatched Ella away and placed her on her desk chair, wondering why she'd thought it was a good idea to bring Keith up to her room. The first time she'd had Dex up there had been embarrassing enough. At least Iggy was happy. He curled up in Keith's lap, squeak purring like crazy as Keith ticked his belly. Only you would have a pet imp and dye it hot pink. Actually, the pink is Dex's fault. Oh yes, I forgot about Dex. He comes over a lot, doesn't he? We are best friends, and I've been thinking, oh good, at least one of us should. I'm serious, Keith. Before I tell you anything, I need you to agree to 3 conditions. And those conditions would be, okay, number 1, anything I tell you can never be repeated to anyone, ever, not even Fitz. Oh, I get to solve all the Foster mysteries. Awesome. Sophie sighed. 2, I'm the one who makes the decisions, and you don't get to argue with them. I don't see how that's fair. I didn't say it was fair. You either agree or you're out. He grinned. Fine. Foster's the queen of the universe. Agreed. What's the last one? Sophie stared at her hands, trying not to think about the fury she'd seen in Fitz's eyes the day before. That no matter what you learn, you won't hate me. Why would I hate you? Just promise, okay? That one's a no-brainer. Still, not so sure on the whole letting you boss me around thing, but the last one's easy. She nodded, still not looking at him. So that's it, right? We have a deal. Actually, there's one more thing, Sandor announced, marching into the room. Whatever you guys are planning, I'm in too. That might not always. I go where you go, Sandor insisted, cutting Sophie off. Or I head downstairs to tell Adeline everything I just heard. And more. Sophie glared at him, but she had no doubt he would make good on his threat. Okay, so Ginger toes on the train, Keith decided. And let's get one thing straight, Mr. Simpson, Sandor said, leaning down in Keith's face. I'm here to keep Miss Foster safe, so you will do what I say or I will leave you behind. Is that clear? Is he always this cuddly? Sophie couldn't help smiling. All right, so I think everything's settled, Keith announced. Team Foster Keith and a goblin mascot is official. Where do we get started? That was a very good question. This isn't nearly as exciting as I thought it would be, Keith complained as Sophie finished explaining her theory about removing Alden's guilt and how she was trying to track down her own journal. When do we get, fly into the line of fire or sneak away to the forbidden cities? Hopefully, we won't have to do any of that. She scanned her notes on the counselors. She narrowed it down to Emery or Kenrick, either of whom she'd probably be okay with approaching. But the problem was figuring out how to ask them. She doubted she could just leave to Eternalia and knock on their doors, and she tried her imparter and had been told those names were restricted. God, this is so boring, Keith whined as he got up to wander. He'd circled her room several times before he said, You have way less girly stuff than any other girl. Actually, you just have less stuff. I see maybe 10 things in this whole room that say, Sophie lives here. What's up with that? I don't know, she said, surprised to realize he was right. I guess I haven't bought that much since I moved here. I've been a little busy with school and friends and almost dying 3 times? Or is it 4? I can't keep count anymore. Yeah, and that. But still, I was expecting all kinds of human stuff. I didn't take much when I left. Maybe if she had, she'd have her journal. Though she doubted it. She'd forgotten all about it. Do you ever think about them? He asked quietly. Who? Your old family. It's got to be kind of weird knowing they're still out there. It is, she admitted. But it's better this way. Of course it is. You belong with us. And you got some pretty cool guardians to live with. Be glad the council didn't stick you with my family. I'm sure my dad would have volunteered. He finds you fascinating. She tried not to cringe. Your dad seems intense. That's putting it mildly. You know we have an entire room at the house dedicated to the wonder that is him. He's covered the walls in portraits and awards and has a life-size statue of himself in the center, carved out of luminite so it glows. I used to have nightmares about it coming to life and trying to eat me. And when I started Foxfire, he cleared out the room next to it, saying we'd fill it with all of my honors. So far, all it has is a pile of detention slips. He laughed as he said it, but it sounded slightly bitter. Sophie tried to imagine living with that kind of expectation. Even with her human family, she'd never been pressured to succeed. If anything, they were always trying to slow her down, let her enjoy being a kid. It used to drive her crazy. But maybe she didn't realize how lucky she'd been. What about your mom? She asked, realizing that in all the months she'd known Keith, she'd never once heard him mention her. She's a perfect match for my dad. I'm sorry. It's fine. Disappointing them is actually pretty fun. And they give me my stunning good looks. So that makes up for it. He ran his hands through his hair, disheveling it even more, which somehow made him look even better. Sophie looked away before Keith could realize she'd noticed. Grady nodded as his head as he peeked his head through the doorway. His brows shot up when he noticed Keith. Oh, I thought you were up here with Tex. Nope. Keeps helping me with something. I'm teaching Sophie some tricks for using a photographic memory. Keeps jumped in. Figured it can't be too early to help her get ready for midterms, given what happened last year. Hey, I passed all of my midterms. Barely. Grady smiled, but he didn't look convinced by Keith's story. Well, either way, I need you to come downstairs. Is something wrong? Not necessarily, he sighed. Bronte was a bit concerned after what happened during your session today, and he's demanded a demonstration of to see how Sylvain's progress is coming along. I tried to stall them until the weekend, but I was overruled. The entire council is waiting for you outside. Grady looked nervous, but Keith cracked up. Only Foster gets the counselors to make house calls.